want to think of a more powerful God, he has 4 arms and 2 legs. Then you have an even more powerful goddess with 10 arms and 2 legs. Why only 2 legs? Why not 6 legs? Because she wouldn't be able to balance, I suppose. She would have trouble in deciding which leg to move forward, which leg to move backward. You know, there has been this famous question, how does a centipede know which leg to move next? Nobody has been able to figure it out yet. So we have all these problems with religion, which rid us progressively of our faith. So one religion goes smashing up another religion. If you can do nothing else, kill those devotees. We have seen this in the War of the Crusades, the Christians and the Muslims. Even today in Yugoslavia, it was ethnic between the Serbs and the Muslims. And I don't think it's ever going to end as long as we have different gods, but claim there's only one God and he is my God. He cannot be yours because you belong to a different religion. Is it sensible? Is it not foolish? I often wondered why the religious leaders of this world, like the Pope, Dalai Lama, the High Priest of Judaism, they get together and decide, friends, there is only one God, we are all agreed upon it. Why not we agree that the same God is our God and not just my God and your God? Because priesthood prevails, grows, multiplies itself, and maintains its supremacy by demanding money to propitiate the gods. You have done a sin, offer this. You see it right from the Bible, where Abraham is even asked to sacrifice his son. Of course, mercifully, the burning bush says, no, it is enough. I have tested your faith. But they won't go away without at least your best loved kid. Thou shalt sacrifice. And when the plague overtook Egypt, for the Egyptians, every house had to be marked with blood. Every house of every Jew. So that God would recognize, you see, these are my devotees. What is to be said about a God who doesn't know his devotees unless they are marked like packages for delivery? Anyway, that is all besides the point, you see. When they talk of science and spirituality now, science tries to, sort of kick out all these things, the trammels, unnecessary foolishness, superstition, stupidity of religion, come to the essence, but they are not able to come to the essence because although quantum science believes in things you cannot see, things you cannot look at, things you cannot feel, they will not believe similarity with religion, that here also these things exist. That God does not exist just because I can't see him is an unfortunate tenet of science. It's a lie. So this movie that we saw yesterday was very refreshing. I have seen it so many times earlier. It's a fascinating thing, That, for instance, the best lesson in it is by imagining yourself, you can change yourself. When you say, oh, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, you make yourself more and more a sinner than you ever were. Babuji said very beautifully, you see, that there is no sin except your own idea that you are a sinner. There is no sin. In nature, there is no virtue, there is no sin. God created the universe where something kills something and eats it, where something rides on something, where something subdues something. It is nature, it's natural law. Until man came on the scene, until human beings came on the scene. How are they different? God gave them intelligence and will. He said, now thou shalt not. But the same God in one religion says, go forth and multiply. I give you command over all things in this world. You shall eat the birds and the beasts and everything that crawls. The same God who created life in one form gives life in another form, total over this And he says, you breed sheep so that you can go on sacrificing the kid to me. Hinduism says, you shall not take life. Thou shalt not kill applies also to animals and birds. It is too, trite and too simple an understanding to say God meant human beings when he said, thou shalt not kill. Isn't it? But my religion says like that. I can kill. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife or his good neighbor's goods. I remember how much I had to laugh when one boy in America came to me and said, Chari, what is a neighbor? I said, why do you ask? He said, I love the girl next door to my house. I said, what about the left? He wanted to know. Can I covet her? I said, both are neighbors. He said, what about across the street? Is she a neighbor too? I said, yes. I said, even the one in the next parallel street is your neighbor. In essence, neighbor means anybody who is living on this planet with you. They're all your neighbors. Therefore, they're all your brothers and sisters. Sahaj Marg says precisely the same thing. We are all brothers and sisters. Quantum physics says, whatever you may appear to be, you are this. You are particles floating around in the quantum field, which by some act of imagination or thought has coalesced into the form that you see. And you think, this is me. That is the first mistake. You have isolated yourself willfully because you are using your will by thinking, I am. The moment you say, I am, you are this and the rest is that. So the human beings suffer from a sort of isolation of themselves from the rest of this vast universe by two concepts, I and mine. Because when I am there, I have something which I call mine. This is my house, my chair, my wife, my food, my kitchen, my car. Therefore, it is nobody else's. So the feeling of self-consciousness, the feeling of having possessions, two things separate us from the rest of God's creation, and we suffer consequently. Now the idea of sacrifice, giving up, renunciation, is just meant to get rid of this isolation that we have imposed upon ourselves and we are suffering therefrom. When Jesus says, sell all that you have and give it to the poor and follow me, it is the call of the divine, saying, these are the things which are holding you down and keeping you away from me. No, my Lord, I cannot come. Who will look after my house? Who will look after my wife? I have to fish every day to feed her. Who will look after my children? And who will look after the nets if I am not here, with which we fish? God says, remain and enjoy what we have, to the extent that you have it. So possession robs us of greater possessions in a non-material, divine, spiritual world. Therefore, he says, I think in one of these, what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world but lose his own soul? See, this truth you find everywhere. In Hinduism, it is a well-known thing, well-known practice. Not a coveted or taught practice, but something which we are supposed to follow naturally. What Hinduism teaches is, as Babuji emphasized, the 4 stages of life. The stage of the youth, the stage of the married householder, and then the stage of the man who renounces and goes into the forest, achieving vanaprastha, as we say it. Life in the jungle, taking his wife with him, both meditating, looking towards a goal other than the world of the matter. It is implicit in our human life, not something, that you have to listen to from a religious God who sits on top of Mount Sinai or somewhere and who threatens us If you don't do this, one of the first things I asked Babuji was, why do you call these 10 commandments? Originally the 10 maxims were called 10 commandments of Sahaj Marg. He said, why do you ask? I said, Babuji, there's one difference between the 10 commandments of Christianity and our 10 commandments. First thing people say is, why is Sahaj Marg has 10 commandments? Are you trying to ape the Christian religion? Second thing is, our 10 commandments tell you what to do. Christianity tells you what you should not do. Like this question about who is the neighbor. God should have been explicit. But they only say, thou shalt not kill. Kill what? What about my enemy? Or suppose I am jealous of my friend. God has no answer. Ours are explicit. You get up before dawn, bearing in mind the cleanliness of body and mind. You shall meditate in a chosen place, again and again, every day, at the same time. Things like that, you see. Anything that you put before you with love, you shall eat. You see, ours are all positive. What you should do. When you say, suppose I am asking you how to go to Mylapore. When you come to the gate, don't turn right. When you come to the main road, don't turn left. The man is bewildered. I want to go by bus. Don't take 5A, 5B, 7C, 8C and all that. You tell the child who is going for examination, don't fail. You tell the girl who is going to school for the examination, don't be late. She wants to go for her first party. Don't come after 9 p.m. And suppose she doesn't come at all and runs away. Mommy, you only told me don't come after 9 p.m. You see? Babuji said, do. Otherwise, it's like a doctor's prescription. Which are the medicines I must not take? In the morning, don't take these things. In lunchtime, don't take these before your meal. At night time, don't take these before your dinner. Wonderful. How much fees should I pay? Don't pay me 100 rupees. You follow? So the wisdom of Sahaj Marg, the wisdom of my masters, positive teaching. One great teaching Babuji gave me was, if there is a sin in Sahaj Marg, because we have no idea of sin and virtue, vice and virtue. If at all there is a sin, it is of ingratitude. To anybody. If a friend gives you something, you must be grateful. If your wife gives you something, you must be grateful. And to the master, you must always have gratitude. No, what did he give? I was already born, prepared for spirituality. Oh, how do you know? No, I'm telling you, you see, these fellows, like this. Ingratitude, in Caesar, what does he say? When Brutus stabs Caesar, he says, ingratitude more than traitor's arms vanquished him. Et tu, Brute, he said, then fall Caesar. Basically, we recognize, you see, that gratitude is an expression of faith, of love, of humility. Now, when you give to a great man, you say, suppose some minister comes and you present him a check for 10 lakhs. He says, this is all you could afford. You live in a big estate. He is not humble. He is not thankful. Because he is a grabber, and he wants more. The more you give him, the more he wants. Like in one movie we saw, the Romans asked, it was about Rome and the Nazi occupation of Rome. He asked for the Jews, He says, I will guarantee that there will be no concentration camp. You will not be shot. You will not this. Provided you give me 1 million lira and 100 pounds in gold. And that chief of the Jews asked, but Lord, how can I give 100 pounds of gold in no time at all? He gives them 36 hours. Can you not give me a little extension in time? He says, 36 hours starting now. And they managed to, collect it. One pin from here, one nose ring from there, one piece of gold from there. And he brings his 100 pounds. Then he asked, one of his minions asked the colonel, sir, you should have asked him for more. He says, if I had asked him for more, it is like killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Now I know they have gold. Now I will turn the screw. It's like a carpenter's wisdom, that you don't turn the screw too much, otherwise you split the wood. So when you know he can give, suppose you are given 5 rupees, you would have been satisfied with 25. You see it with rickshawalas, this greed, But God is not greedy. So when somebody asks Babuji Maharaj, what should I give you? Of course, in the quiet of the night when we were together, he said, you can give nothing to God. Because everything you have, even your life, is given by Him. Whatever you give, you are only giving Him from what He has given you. Even if you give Him all that you have, it is still giving Him what He has given you. Then I said, what is the idea of offering something to? He said, it is foolish. God does not want your offerings. God wants a very small thing from you, which is also what the Master wants. I said, what is it? He said, something only this big, no more than a fist, the heart. Now, everybody in this world knows that the biggest difficulty is in giving the heart, the greatest difficulty. It's almost impossible to give your heart to anybody else. Even so-called, divine lovers, they said, no, please don't ask for my heart. I am already heartbroken. Yes, but you are heartbroken because you tried to give not your heart, but something you thought is your heart. So Babuji said, this is the thing that can be offered to God or to your master, spiritual master. Because this is the thing, he didn't say that, but he implied, it is the thing which nobody will really give. And he said, when such a person comes who lays his heart at the feet of the Guru, he is no more a bhakta, he is no more a devotee, he is no more a abhyasi, he becomes the beloved of God. So you see the secret of the heart, that which we will give no one, not even to God, but hold on tightly all our lives. When I was in Bengal, I found something. They are Hindus, and when a person dies and they go to cremate the body, everything burns. The heart will not burn. Finally, they wrap it in wet clay and throw it into the Ganga. It is like, melting gold. Ordinary temperatures will not melt. So ordinary funeral will not melt the heart. It is such a valuable thing that even fire cannot destroy it. I have seen myself on several occasions. So God does not want something you have acquired, which is really not yours, but given by Him. He doesn't want your best sari or your best Armani suit. God, I offer you my suit. He says, what will I do with it? I have no form on which I can clothe this. I give you my diamond ring, 7 carats, De Beers diamond. I created it. It's a bit of rock. My heart, yes, because it is your most prized possession. So Hinduism says you must give that which you value most. We have a tradition that when you go